Hi, in this video, we are going to have a brief look at the handbook issued by the Indian government for the implementation of the POCSO Act for school management and staff. The POCSO Act was passed by an act of the Indian Parliament in the year 2012. POCSO means Protection of Children from Sexual Offences. This handbook has extensive information about implementing safety measures in school. Let us look at some salient features. There should be a child abuse monitoring committee. There are details in the handbook about who constitutes the committee. It's given in this section. There has to be an independent person, there should be student representation, and a representative should be allotted to reach out for communication with other members in the society. It also tells us about the number of meetings that should be held in a year. Students should have awareness of such a committee. They should know that such a committee exists for their safety, and they should be able to approach the committee without any fear or apprehension. Another important point is the Childline Help number 1098 should be displayed in prominent places in the school. For example, bulletin boards, corridors, toilets, and other visible places for students. Another important point is the availability of the NCPCR, that is the National Committee of Protection for Child Rights, POCSO e button should also be displayed similarly in important places like corridors, bulletin boards, and toilets. Now, this is a link, and though I searched for it in the website and otherwise I couldn't find a QR code, anybody can do a QR code for a link. So, a QR code can be made, and that QR code can be printed and displayed in toilets, corridors, and bulletin boards. I've made a QR code for it. You'll find a link in the description with a lot of additional information about this issue. The QR code is also in it. Another important point is a complaints box has to be put up in the school premises. Another important point is regular teaching sessions have to be conducted for all the children in the school on personal safety. This includes talking about body parts, body safety, online safety, protection from abuse, and other related concerns. Another important point during recruitment of staff, background verification and police checking has to be conducted for all staff, teaching, non teaching, contractual, and visiting staff for both curricular and extracurricular activities. Another important point is regular child protection policy training has to be held for staff. It could be once a year if necessary. In this training session, staff are specifically trained to be alert to the signs and indicators of child sex abuse. They should be trained about child protection policy and guidelines and child laws and reporting mechanisms. Another important point is new staff who are recruited have to be given the child protection training within a month of recruitment. Another important point is teachers, management, and all employees of institutions need to be made aware about the provisions of the POCSO Act, some of which cast a duty on them to report instances of child sex abuse. Another important point, child protection policy has to be signed by all staff. There are two handbooks that schools must refer to. One is the Handbook on Implementation of the POCSO Act 2012 for School Management and Staff, issued by the National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development. The other is the Manual on Safety and Security of Children in Schools, developed by the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. This manual has extensive detailed guidelines about the safety of children in all domains, including child sexual abuse. They have a checklist that schools should verify and make sure that they have these systems in place for the safety of children in school. Schools have to go through these manuals seriously and implement them. Schools have accountability and answerability for the safety of children. Recently, I was in a meeting and we were having a conversation about the safety of children in school. So, when the topic of child sex abuse arose, one senior member of the management said, "Oh, but we're not all monsters. The children will be safe." Uh, what are monsters? Are monsters somebody with horns and pointy teeth and ugly ears? And I mean, what do monsters look like? Why would we speak about monsters in the context of child sex abuse and safety of children in schools? Do child sex offenders and abusers look like monsters? Can we see them from a distance? Can we recognize them? Can we look at that person and say, oh, that person looks like a monster, he looks like a child sex abuser? No. Another person from the school management said, "Oh, but we're all human beings. We're not animals. It's a safe place." Really? Have we ever heard of animals abusing children, human children? It's human beings who abuse children. It's human beings that we have to be aware of because child sex offenders are human beings. So when they spoke like this, I was disconcerted and disappointed to hear the school management members speak like this. And when I asked whether some of these safety measures were implemented in the school, the reply I received shocked me. They said, "Oh, no, we don't need these measures. It is a safe environment." This interaction really affected me, and I wondered what is it that makes people in authority and responsibility speak like this? Is it ignorance or apathy? Neither of which is what a parent looks for in a person of authority and responsibility over their children. Parents appreciate people in responsibility over their children to be aware and proactive. That set me thinking, if people in positions of accountability and answerability over children are like this, what about society at large? What about parents? Do parents even know that government has given a guideline for schools to follow regarding prevention of child sex abuse? Do all schools know this? Do parents know this? Many schools and parents don't seem to know about this. I'm hoping that what we discuss now will help to eradicate some of the ignorance surrounding this issue and to decrease apathy and increase concern, commitment, and proactivity towards the safety of our children. Parents have the right and responsibility to ensure that the school in which their child is studying implement these safety measures. As parents, we cannot dismiss this saying, "Government has made a law, somebody is not following it. How does it bother me? What can I do?" Of course, it bothers you. It puts your child in a position of vulnerability. What can you do? You can talk, you can ask, you can discuss, you can send an email, you can communicate with the school management, you can talk to a teacher, you can talk to the Parents Teachers Association, you can talk to the government, you can talk to the authorities, offer your services, offer your help, speak to an NGO, coordinate between the NGO and the school, become a volunteer in the school. There are so many things we can do. Do something. It's your child. Fear and inaction on the part of the parents will only increase the incidence of child sex abuse. Parents have to become proactive and be unafraid for the sake of our children. And the school management cannot do this by themselves. They need the involvement of the staff, of the Parent Teachers Association, of parents, and other agencies in society like non-profits or NGOs or social organizations that work in this domain. So, parents and the school together have to do this. Together, we can provide a safe environment and a secure childhood for our children.